thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and today we are talking about the results of the best Scooby-Doo episode from the awards show that we did. Before we begin, I will have everyone introduce themselves, and Wendy, will start with you.
Hi guys, I'm Wendy BRYDGE. I'm a commissioned artist and I've been collecting Scooby for over 30 years.
Joel?
Hey there, I'm Joel from the YouTube channel Planet Scooby.
So, I don't know about the rest of you, but we were a little surprised by the best Scooby-Doo episodes from the awards show. So we decided that that's what we're going to talk about today. So the winners, it was a tie, were A Night of Fright is No Delight and Jeepers It's the Creeper. They both had 18 votes. I'm going to read the rest of them just so that everyone knows where everything else fell in, and then we'll talk about it. What a Night for a Night had 17. Spooky Space Kook had 16. Foul Play in Funland had 13. Vampire Bats and Scaredy Cats had 6. The Headless Horseman of Halloween had 6. A Clue for Scooby-Doo had 5. To Switch a Witch had 4. Hassle in the Castle had 1. Harum Scarum Sanitarium had 1. And Chiller Diller Movie Thriller had 0. Not 1 vote. So of all of these episodes, are you guys as surprised that A Night of Fright is No Delight and Jeepers It's the Creeper were tied for number 1? Wendy?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at A Night of Fright is No Delight. I'm very surprised at Jeepers It's the Creeper. I would probably, people are going to hate me for this. That would probably fit in my top 5 least favorite Scooby episodes, I would imagine.
The chick that do it for you?
No.
He was cute.
It's cute, but I don't know. I just, yeah. I don't, it's kind of boring. It's kind of a boring episode. Whereas A Night of Fright of No Delight is like, boom, scary, 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 scary. I mean, look, green ghosts. I did wear this just so that I could have this moment, my green ghost moment. Also, it's freezing in here, but so it's doubling. It's keeping me warm. I may just leave the hood up the rest of the night. But no, I really, given all of the other choices, I'm especially surprised that Jeepers It's the Creeper ranked higher than a lot of them. Can't believe Hassle in the Castle was that low. Because I would put that probably in my top 10. And I'm very surprised that it didn't do a little bit better than that. But yeah, Night of Fright of No Delight, personally think it's the best episode of Where Are You? One of the top ones for all of Scooby, because it's got the best atmosphere, I think, from pretty much any Scooby episode. I would feel comfortable saying that. I think it has the spookiest kind of atmosphere. It has the most beautiful background art. That house on the cliff, for one thing, is amazing. Especially when Velma and Shaggy and Scooby are down in the basement and they go into the Colonel's collection room and there's all the Confederate flags and the wagon with the uniforms in it. Beautiful artwork. Whoever was you know what we need? Cobwebs. Every scene has cobwebs. That house, I don't think, has ever been dusted a day in its life. The Colonel definitely did not have a maid, because there are cobwebs literally everywhere and on everything, but they look amazing. So maybe someone at the studio had just learned how to make cobwebs look really cool and they're like, just do it. I'm here for that, though. I'm totally fine with it. Doesn't bother me. But yeah, guys, what's up? Jeepers It's the Creeper. Come on. I don't know.
I do feel like the cobwebs were a nice touch, though, because it's a mansion and,
Yeah.
Who's gonna clean a mansion? Even if you have a maid, they're not gonna clean like the feet of the tub.
I guess, yeah. Well, I guess Helga didn't really do a good job of cleaning in the Jekyll and Hyde episode either, because they do criticize her for like, you made a mess of the attic after I just cleaned it and there's still cobwebs all over. So maybe it's just a thing.
Maybe. Joel, what are your thoughts on A Night of Fright is No Delight and Jeepers It's the Creeper being #1 for best episode?
I wasn't surprised with either because I've done reviews on both of those and they got a lot of feedback and a lot of. It seems like there's two. I don't want to like separate Scooby fans or anything, but there's kind of like two types of Scooby fans where one loves the spooky horror kind of atmosphere, and the other likes the kind of fun, easygoing, comedic nature of the other one now, Jeepers It's a Creeper. And like if I'm showing a new person a Scooby-Doo episode, it's usually going to be a Fright is No Delight, but I have like nieces and nephews who are creeping up on 30, but back when they were kids, I had a couple of nieces and nephews who were a lot younger, and I would never show them that episode, but it'd be fine to show them Jeepers It's a Creeper because they kind of want that fun kind of dip your toe in spookiness, but it's not that scary. So I see the benefit and pros for each, but Jeepers the Creeper, I would agree with Wendy. It's kind of boring. I watched it today and I had to watch it in 1.5 speed just to rush things along. I do like the episode, but yeah, I'd rather be watching a Night of Fright is No Delight. I honestly thought when you sent that poll a spooky space goop was going to be the winner because that seems to be a lot of people's favorites. I'm kind of glad it didn't win just because I like a Night of Fright is No Delight way better.
I thought Vampire Bats and Scaredy Cats would have been at least higher on the list, if not #1.
I think the Scooby Dumb factor
Yeah.
might have held that back.
Maybe.
It's
Yeah.
possible.
And Jeepers It's the Creeper has a chase song, which I think kind of elevated it.
Which is the greatest chase song in my
The
opinion.
greatest. Yeah,
Daydreamin' is the best.
I agree.
Yeah. But I mean, that's probably one of the only, besides that and the chick, because he was cute.
He was cute.
They were the best things in the episode.
Oh, the chocolate covered corn on the cob.
No. Listen, we can confirm that is disgusting.
It's
It's
Never.
disgusting, but I mean, it's
No.
memorable.
memorable,
Memorable, yes.
yeah.
So memorable, you two ate it.
Yes, we did.
Never again.
Yeah. Never again. No. Dirt first.
And the school dance was cool. Like there's just this barn with school dance plaster on it, no chaperones.
That is maybe like the one saving grace for me for that episode is that we get to see them sort of in their actual element, which
Yeah.
is they're teenagers going to school,
Yeah.
doing teenage things, So that, I guess, the fact that you just said that made me appreciate that episode a lot more than I did before, strictly because now I can say that was maybe a needed thing to like remind everyone it's not a bunch of adults running around doing these amazing things. They're a bunch of kids, And at the end of the day, they just want to go hang out with their friends and go to the malt shop and have a dance and eat disgusting food that
Yeah.
teenagers do.
Some of the food, like one of the bowls at one point looked like mashed potatoes. And I'm like, why would you have mashed potatoes at a dance?
Yeah.
Good point.
They really like their carbs or
I guess. They needed the carbs to keep up the energy, maybe.
There you
yeah.
go. Yeah.
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 And
Maybe
then
they didn't have options in 1969. Or that'd be 1970, I guess, right?
I mean, when were potato chips invented? It had to have been before then, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I
Yeah.
would think so. Yeah.
Sandwiches, like finger sandwiches.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you need, well, they did have all those paper plates, but they're dumping. So
They did. And they were just going to dump them like randomly next to
Yeah.
a scarecrow who happened to be the creeper. Like there wasn't a garbage can somewhere for them to put them in.
Yeah, that was interesting. Although maybe actual paper plates at the time made out of paper instead of styrofoam, biodegradable, just chuck them in the woods.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was still very weird.
It was. It didn't seem like there was enough kids to warrant that many plates.
Right.
No.
And were they all soiled, or were some of them good and they could have taken them home and used them at the next party?
I think they were soiled.
Were they, though?
Well, you know, Shaggy and Scooby didn't use any plates because they just devoured everything off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one good thing too about that episode was in the beginning, Scooby was in the mystery machine getting himself ready. He was putting on the bow tie
Right.
He's very cute when
and
he
like putting hair tonic on or something
does.
and combing his hair, and he was very, very proud of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
He's really
it was a
slicking up.
cute-
Yeah.
Yes, it was a cute moment, but I felt like he should have kept the bow tie on for the episode.
Agreed. Yeah. Why put it on in the van and then it's gone?
Yeah.
I guess
Animation, that's why, but
Yeah.
still.
recycling animation too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe it's because it was like a double bow tie.
Mm.
And what's funny is Jordan, the art of Scooby-Doo, sent me that picture yesterday. And he
Mhm.
was like, how did he tie a double bow tie? And that's a good point. Like for a dog who doesn't have thumbs, right? How did he
Yeah.
tie his bow tie like that? Or
I
is
mean,
it just one of
Scooby's-
the ones that snaps and it's just like that?
Mm.
Scooby's tail can turn into a key, though. I
Yeah.
think he can use his fingers like thumbs. You know,
Yes, yeah.
I think he can.
Yeah. At one point, and I don't remember which episode it was, but he was next to Shaggy and you could see his nail on one of his,
So random.
and I was just like, why? It looks like he's gonna stab Shaggy with his nail. It's such a weird, we've never seen his nails before like that unless he was specifically doing something.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really weird to
Yeah,
see
it's
his nail.
interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, it's just like right out there for no reason. Just
Yeah. Joel, what did you say was the episode that you thought should have won?
Oh, Spooky Space Kook.
Spooky Space Cube, great. Okay. All right.
But I thought it
forgot-
was gonna win. I didn't think it should win. I just thought it was gonna win.
Is there one that you thought should have won?
A Night of Fright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're definitely gonna go with that one.
Yeah. This is my
Wendy-
favorite.
Wendy, you definitely think a Night of Fright should have won?
I'll be honest, if I'm being like completely objective and not going with like just my favorite something and just thinking of Scooby as a whole and being like, what is the best quintessential episode? I would agree. I think A Night of Fright is no delight would definitely be the one.
Okay. I'm still going with Vampire Bats and Scaredy Cats. I think that one should have won. I don't know. I just spookiness factor. I think that one is the spookiest. And
Yeah.
yeah, but I do see the whole Scooby-Dum thing because he can get a little irritating.
It changes like the dynamic of everyone too on some level.
Mhm.
So I can see why. Like it is a very interesting, like there's a lot going on in it to make it very interesting to watch. It's not boring like the Creeper for sure. But yeah, I am surprised. I feel like I expected that more people would prefer the Scooby-Doo show to Where Are You? And I'm always so surprised when it's like, no, the majority of people really do gravitate towards like, Where Are You? And a lot of them are not even familiar with the majority of Scooby-Doo show episodes.
I was happy to see that the Scooby-Doo Where Are You episodes were in like the top 5
Mhm.
Yeah.
because to me, it is the best series and will be the best series always and forever. Yeah.
Season 1's pretty hard to beat.
Season 1 is good, but what I like about season 2 is the songs.
Yeah.
And I know you don't necessarily like the songs, Wendy, but
I love the songs. I just don't need them in Scooby because it, like Joel nailed it earlier, where there's spooky Scooby and then there's like fun, lighter Scooby here. And the fun, lighter Scooby definitely has its place, but I don't prefer it. But don't get me wrong, those songs, like I have like on repeat a lot of the time. I'm just listening to them. I just feel like they sort of bring Scooby down out of that creepy sort of world that I think he belongs in. That's my only criticism of them. I love them. I don't necessarily want them in Scooby.
I assume it was probably the reason they put the songs in
Yeah.
was to bring down that creepiness factor so that kids would be able to watch it more easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything in A Night of Fright is No Delight that you really enjoyed? Like for me, seeing Scooby walking in the bathrobe and the slippers, like
Yeah.
just so cute. But it was a little weird that he brushed his teeth with the soap.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
It's better than like with nothing though.
I don't know.
Like
I mean, he could have just used the brush. Although he was using the brush on himself
he was.
and
Yeah.
then brushed his teeth. So yeah. I don't know. Joel, anything that you specifically liked in that episode?
Oh, I have a long list. But going to just talking about the soap, I think that's like a reference to some vaudeville thing, like from the 20s, like Depression comedy, Depression era comedy. Like I imagine that it kind of remind me like of those old 1920s cartoons. And I think they're just kind of because those people writing that script were probably when they were kids, they were watching something like that. So I liked it. Just Scooby in the bathtub alone, like if that could be my forever profile picture, I'd love that. With the green ghost like peeking in with on Scooby, like that scene, that frame, that's just my favorite frame, single frame. If I could buy that cell, even though it's probably been landfilled, I'd just be a happy monkey. Dog-shaped coffin, love that. It's not even like shaped like a dog, but still love it. The vinyl album with the will, I'd love to have that on vinyl. I love vinyl, clearly. The Scooby Dummy, it's the watermelon with the carrots.
Yes, that was great.
It was great. But where'd they get that? Because there's no food in that place and the fish food.
They can like just magically find things. So
Yeah.
they're really good at that, however they do it. But that dummy was really cool, and I feel like they should have made a plush.
Plush or a Funko Pop or something.
Yeah.
Good idea.
We need something. The fish food on the sandwich, Shaggy sandwich, I thought that was funny.
It was funny, but why would he put fish food on his sandwich?
Well, same reason you put chocolate syrup on corn on the cob, I guess.
Well, at least the two of them are edible.
Yeah.
Separately, not together.
It's just funny, and fish food's disgusting.
Joel, do I want to know why you know that?
I was just gonna ask that same thing. Do you know from experience, Joel?
I just know from the smell of it. And
It does smell pretty gross.
when I have my little Venus flytraps, when they're babies, I fed it fish food to help them grow. Because it was made out of like mealworms.
Okay.
The chase scene I felt in this one had like a purpose, where the ones with the music, they don't really seem to have a purpose other than filling time and just kind of deflating the spooky atmosphere. Where this one, it was like I paid attention during these chase scenes. The names of the people, the relatives, like Cousin Slicker, Sweet Malahide, Sweet Aunt Malahide or something. Cousin Simple, and was it Nephew Norville or Normal?
I think it was supposed to be Norville,
I think so, yeah.
but it did sound like he said normal in the beginning.
Yeah. And despite me not being able to make it out, I love the Colonel's accent or his, whatever you call it, dialect. I don't know what you call it, you know. The grandfather clock has me like it was a secret entrance. It's always had me terrified. Even when I watch Webster, I don't know. Wendy, you probably don't get 80s Webster references, but they had a grandfather clock that was
Okay.
led to the basement.
Yeah.
I think the organ, love that scene. Feed the organ, and I think Goonies ripped it off later because Goonies had a similar scene with an organ made out of bones, though, but they had to press the right keys. It was on the map. Another 80s reference, Wendy. You might not get it. The mirror with the long message, like that ghost took his time to write that message in the dust, and with great penmanship or thumbmanship. Um, we've talked about Scooby taking a bath. We talked about the Colonel's voice, and just the location, harkening back to what Wendy said with the island, the cliff, the perfect animate, the perfect background. Um, also love that they're on a speedboat and Velma's able to read a newspaper. It's not blowing everywhere. And then Fred's like distracted, or they're running a cliff with rocks everywhere, and he's like reading it too and steering. I love that too.
Oh, that's funny. The fish. Let's go back to the fish for a second.
Mm.
It's the normal like gag where there's a little animal somewhere and it gets really mad and it like, tells off usually Scooby, but this time it was Shaggy. One of the other things that I noticed was when Velma ran past the phone and it was ringing and she answered it, and then the Phantom shows up and she's like, "Oh, it's for you." It's not very often that someone other than Scooby or Shaggy does those gags.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see Velma do one.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, was
Yeah.
there anything specifically that you liked in A Night of Fright is No Delight?
Well, it does have my ultimate favorite Scooby-Doo scene from anything. And that is when the green ghost comes out of the grandfather clock and goes up the stairs.
Yeah.
And that music is scary AF. It's laughing. It's creepy. It looks fantastic. That, I mean, I'm sure at some point that gave me nightmares. Might give me nightmares tonight because I watched it today, honestly. Like it's that scary. That is, I think, the closest for me. That is the closest that the show came to capturing the spirit of that original promo video. That's kind of that like sepia tone. That I think was like the Scooby-Doo moment that harkens back to that. And I would give almost anything for that series to have been that promo all the way through. That would have been insane and amazing. But yeah, just seeing that clock open up and everything in that like 5 or 6 seconds is perfection. There's nothing that I would change about it. There's nothing I think that could be improved. It's like chef's kiss, Scooby perfection. Definitely my favorite out of every Scooby thing that exists. Also really love in the very beginning when they get to the house and then there's this scene and it pans up the house and then we get this really, really, really cool 3D effect where you can actually like, if you know, like obviously maybe as a child you don't know this, but as an adult understanding how cells are layered and how they work in animation, this moment that I feel we don't see that often. There's like a tree branch that is obviously on a cell and the house is on a different cell and you actually get this like cool moving effect. It's really, really neat. And I wish that there was a little bit more of that in Scooby-Doo. This might just be my bias talking, but I know it's not the same thing. But everything about that opening up to where they're like reading the will reminds me of House on Haunted Hill, 1959. I would be very surprised if they were not at least like this much inspired by that, where there's, people coming together and there's money involved and it's in a creepy house. And even that like it's on a cliff, but it's also kind of a hill. I don't know. So that makes me love it even more because that's my favorite movie of all time. And I thought if that is like a conscious nod to Vincent Price in that fantastic fantastic movie, then A+++. Definitely love Scooby in his little organ outfit, and he comes out with that candelabra, and you're like, where did you get that? Like, where'd you get that? How are you even? Do you know how heavy candelabras are? And Scooby's just casually carrying it in his mouth like it's nothing, you know? Also, whose fish is that? How long has that fish been in there? How does it get fed? You know, does it crawl out at night and like pour the food in itself? I don't know. I have questions about the poor fish who seems totally fine, but also how is he being fed and who is looking after him and how long has he been there? You know, I feel like we need to know that. Other favorite thing about this episode that I wish we saw more of, Daphne actually says the title almost verbatim as a line of dialogue. Wow, what a night for a fright. Because their titles are so clever, to me, I love like a pun. Nikki knows, and I was so embarrassed. It took me until like 2 years ago to catch that it's not this episode, but that it's not what the hex is going on. It's what the heck's going on. Right over my head.
Well, let me tell you, Max has it listed what the hex is going on.
Oh, okay. So I'm not the only moron. That's good. That's good. I feel a little bit better about myself now. But like somebody put effort into all of those original titles, you know, they're all kind of clever with like a little twist to them. And so just to have her like say it in the episode, I thought was really, really great. One other question though. And it is one of my favorite things though, because you're like, what the F? Fred and Shaggy are wearing pajamas. Daphne and Velma are just in their regular clothes. Like, were they not going to go to bed? Are they sleeping in their clothing? Why are we not getting the fun Daphne Velma pajamas?
Maybe they just didn't get dressed yet.
Maybe.
Do girls tend to stay up later than guys? I don't know. Is that a thing? A lot of the guys I know go to bed at like 9.
Wow.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's
We're
not
all
happening.
old, so
That's
except
not
Wendy. Wendy's not old. Not as old as us.
mentally a mold. And I just fall. I like Joel said on the last panel. I just take like a nap between like 7 and 10, and then I'm up until 3 in the morning. So I'm kind of cheating. Yeah.
You mentioned the fish. What about the duck? Or was it a goose? Where the heck did he come from?
Where did he come from?
Like
How did he get down
there's the uniforms and this duck or goose just like magically puts on the uniform and pretends that he's scaring everyone, and then he's like, okay, I'm done, and he flies away. Like, where was he?
Yeah.
How did he get in the mansion to get into the uniforms?
Yeah. It's a good question.
And maybe he's feeding the fish.
Could be.
It could be.
Could be.
Yeah. Other than that, the gang runs out of the room and they're holding Scooby above their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And they slam his head into the top of the door frame. Like to the point where Scooby goes like this. Okay. That had to have hurt. I mean, Scooby should be dead. Okay. He shouldn't have survived that, or at least brain dead. I mean, the fact that like they slammed his head into that door frame, that was not cool. He did get a Scooby snack for waking up. So good for you, Scooby. Free. And then my last thing, of course, Scooby and Shaggy could make a washing machine fly. Right? Because they just happen to do weird things and then weird things happen. So, yeah, washing machines flying.
Well, I like that even though they messed up the trap, in the end, the trap worked the way it was meant to work. The ghosts ended up in the washing machine.
But then why were they taken out of the washing machine and hung up?
Well, they had to dry off.
Why didn't they just stand them up? They had legs. Someone took them out of the washing machine and hung them up on a line. Who? Did
It's
all of
probably
the gang like help to take and they didn't fight back? They're just like, okay, like you can hang me on a wash line. I don't care. That was weird. They could have just been standing on the ground. It would have made more sense.
Oh. Well, I mean, their robes and stuff like were a little bit longer, I guess, than their, and they were dripping.
Okay, so then take the robes off and hang those up, and then the people could just be standing on the ground.
Maybe they didn't have anything under it. And we can't have them be like naked in just their shoes, so logical.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Scooby did get a floating bone out of it, though.
Yeah.
So, the Scooby snack and the floating bone.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed to be fine because for the rest of, the Scooby-Doo franchise, he didn't seem to have any major issues from slamming his head into that door frame.
Oh dear.
Final thoughts on A Night of Fright is No Delight, Jeepers It's the Creeper, the fact that these won as best Scooby-Doo episode, or whatever final thoughts you have. Wendy?
Again, I'm really glad that it did turn out that way. I'm a little bummed there was a tie of any sort because that's not as satisfying as just like a solid win with, a bunch of extra votes. Everything was very, very close. Next time we do this, guys, we need more people. You guys got to vote. The more votes, the more your voice can be heard. And I mean, not that I particularly care what other people like, but it's still interesting to see what they do. Yeah, still not understanding the Jeepers It's the Creeper one, although that episode does have a special place in my heart because of the misunderstanding on the panel a few years ago where I said that the Grim Creeper from Ghoul School could be cute and just live in my garden, and someone, we won't mention names, Devin, and everyone else being like, oh my God, you want the creeper in your garden? And I'm like, yeah, why not? He's adorable. And it was only after the panel went out that I finally realized what you guys were thinking, that I meant like the old man creeper, like Mr. Carswell dressed up like the creeper, and then, oh, you want some old man in a suit in your garden? Like, no, I don't. That's not what I meant. And the fact that you guys thought that's what I meant makes me worry about myself, my reputation, what kind of person you think I am. Anyway. Yeah, we're never gonna live it down. Never.
That was funny. Oh gosh, I never even thought about the Grim Creeper. You said the creeper, and then the creeper came into my head. Like I
But
never
in the garden, he's a plant.
Well, he was on a farm. Like I just figured he could be in a garden too.
Yeah.
The creeper can be anywhere you want him to be.
I don't want him anywhere. It's not the creeper I want. I want the plant creeper. The vines and stuff.
Okay. Joel, your final thoughts?
You got me thinking about where that fish came from, and now I remember Scooby rescued Colonel Sanders from drowning in a fish pond. So I'm wondering if it was one of Colonel's fishes that he's going to put in a fish pond later, or he saved it from the fish pond. Another reason why this is Wendy's least favorite, I think, is because they mentioned Squirrel Stew, the creeper episode.
Yes. Squirrels are not for eating, people. I don't care where you live.
That's why another reason why it's one of her least favorites that I'm projecting on her. those are my final thoughts. That's all I got.
All right. Yes, definitely when we do this again, because we're going to do this every year now, make sure that you vote because we want to know your answers just because we're really curious and it makes good content. So definitely vote. Maybe we'll have to do a best episode category for each series
Yeah.
because
Good.
this one we did different series. Maybe we need to, and I wonder if it would be different. I wonder if the result would be different. Even though the top 5 were Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? We'll see. We'll see. Because there are some really good Where Are You episodes that weren't in this list. Yeah. Yeah. It was fun to rewatch the episodes. I did watch A Night of Fright is No Delight in 4 pieces on YouTube because I was too lazy to go get my DVDs. And it's not on Max, which should be on Max. I don't know why it's not there. Jeepers, It's the Creeper is on Max, but Night of Fright is No Delight is not. So Max, before you take all the Scooby content off, you need to add this. It will make my life easier. It would have made it easier. So, yep, we're going to wrap things up. Before we do, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. And Wendy, we'll start with you.
On Instagram, I'm at WendyBRYDGE, Twitter X, Wendy Loves Jesus, and my blog is wendylovesjesus.wordpress.com.
Joel?
You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Planet Scooby.
You can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the panel, but Happy New Year. It is 2025. Thank you for joining us for another Scooby panel. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Garrett Spencer, Paul the Scooby Dude, and Jesse. If you would like to support the Scooby panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy Bridge, and Joel from Planet Scooby. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby panel.